What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and if you're new around here, welcome for the first time. It is finally time to talk about Season 8, and I can show you everything that I've been working on over the last week. So this video is everything new in Season 8. Let's go. All right, this is going to be a long one, so let's get right to it. We're going to start with the most juicy stuff, which is the content. There's going to be 2 playlists in Season 8, and if you've been paying attention to the news, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We've got the Street Riders playlist and a BMW playlist that's going to hit us on January 7th. The Street Riders playlist will be available for you guys to play tomorrow, November 5th. The whole thing will be ready. It won't be like the luxury playlist. It's not going to be one event every single week. It'll all be ready there for you to play. And you're going to get to customize the brand new BMW M3. Now, it's not a brand new car, but it's new to the game. But let's talk about the Street Riders playlist a little bit in depth, because there's a couple of unique features that this playlist is going to bring in terms of gameplay and gameplay mechanics. And the first one is called a free race. So this is a different type of race. Now, you might see it as just a regular race because you are kind of just going from checkpoint to checkpoint. The difference between this and every other race is that there's no navigation. There's just a flare that pops up that you have to locate in the sky and then find the best route to get there. There's no checkpoints in between those flares, and there's going to be maybe 4 or 5 flares within an entire race. So you have a lot of freedom. You can experiment with different routes. You can go whichever way you want, but the goal is to get there the fastest, obviously, because it is a race. This allows for so much creativity when it comes to racing these events. If you want to jump over houses or go through backyards, or, go through small alleyways or jump off of dirt or do whatever you want, it just gives you the freedom to do that. I really like this type of gameplay. It really just gives the player more power to sort of create their own path, and it kind of provides you with a little bit of a puzzle within the race, which if you're not really that keen on finding shortcuts, then you might not like it. But for me personally, I find great enjoyment in finding what those paths are. The second gameplay mechanic that they're introducing is the Monkey's Bet. This is sort of like a challenge. The game is giving you the choice. Do you want to challenge yourself with a little bit more difficulty, say no NOS for the entire race, or you're going to automatically play on difficulty 4 out of 5, or one of them actually has no brakes. You have to race the entire thing with no brakes and no minimap. So a lot of these challenges are just making your life a little bit more difficult during the race. But if you choose to accept that bet, you actually gain quite a bit of money in exchange for all of that difficulty. I mean, we're talking 10,000, 20,000 bucks in addition to your original winnings, or the winnings you would get from the race. So it can be worth it, but the choice is really yours. So I like that they're not just making the game more difficult for no reason. They're giving you the choice to make it difficult on yourself and maybe reap the rewards. Now, the next playlist is the BMW playlist, and like I said, it's not coming out till January 7th. That's going to be our mid-season update for Season 8. So there's a bunch of stuff coming with that, including more cars, more BMWs, lots of stuff. That stuff we don't really have access to yet, so when we get that type of early access, I'll make sure I make a video on that as well. Now, in addition to those 2 playlists, you're getting 17 new themed weeks, which is what we get basically every single time. We're doing about a 4-month schedule right now for seasons, so you have 17 weeks in this season, 4 monthly themes, and we actually do know the monthly themes at this point. The first one is going to be called Monkey's Kitchen, which is going to be themed around that Street Riders playlist. The second month is called Street Vibes, and then of course the third month, which is when we introduce the BMW playlist, is going to be called BMW Celebration. The last month of the season will be called Surprising Rivalries, and we don't really know too much about that one yet, so we'll leave that for another day. All right, let's move on to one of the marquee features of this update, and that is the ranked grand races. If you didn't see my video on ranked, they did post a quality of life article, and they went through a lot of the same stuff that I'm going to mention in this video. I don't have any new information for you. I was hoping to get an interview with the devs before the update came out, but it looks like that's not going to happen. The purpose of that interview was to go through ranked grand races in detail. I'm hoping to still get that, but it might happen after the update goes live and after you see this video. So anyways, let's go through some of the stuff in ranked grand races. The first thing is there are 5 ranks that are going to be available for you in ranked grand races, and for each of those ranks you're going to gain a unique reward. One of the rewards is a unique title, and that unique status is the only unique title in the entire game, but you have to hit legend rank, and I don't know if everybody's going to be capable of doing that. And speaking of these rewards for ranked are all exclusive. They're exclusive to ranked. You can only get them there, and as of right now, they have not said whether they're going to bring them back in the prestige store or not. And the prestige store is sort of where they put all of the rewards that are competition based that not everybody gets to earn. They probably will at some point bring them back. My hope though, and this is not to slight any of you guys that play casually, or maybe just don't play a lot, or maybe just grand racing is not your thing, I don't feel like those rewards should be available to everyone. I think they should only be available to people who put the time in the competitive space in order to earn them. So I'm okay with them coming back to the prestige store. It's fine, but I would like them to be locked behind some sort of competition-based achievements. Well, let's just say, for example, they come back after 2 seasons into the prestige store and you can buy them with regular prestige tickets. However, they're locked until you reach the required level that those original rewards were for. Those rewards were released as a silver reward in season 8's ranked grand races. Then you need to get silver at least in the current season in order to unlock that. Or you have to get to silver at some point during any of the ranked seasons, and then it unlocks all of the silver rewards. I feel like that's pretty fair. That means that you actually do have to perform in a competitive environment. You know, the reality is not everybody has the time to play. Not everybody can just grind out competitive every single season, and so people have a good chance of missing rewards. So I'm okay with it being available later, but I would still like the original objective to be forced upon the player. Anyways, that's just me talking. Who knows if that's even going to happen. Let's get into some of the other details about ranked. There's going to be 4 divisions per rank, and you're going to get currency rewards for each one of those divisions. So you'll have, you know, bronze 4, bronze 3, 2, 1, etc., and then silver 4, 3, 2, 1. You get the picture. And each time you climb into a new division, you're going to get some sort of currency like bucks or legend points or prestige tickets, something like that. Now, one of my favorite parts about ranked this season is the new UI. The menu system looks great. They give you a schedule that tells you exactly what the next rotation is for the grand races, which means you can sort of plan out your day a little bit, right? If you're on playing, working on playlists or something like that, and a rotation comes up that you actually like, now you can jump in because you know that it's there, or you can plan for it to be there, like say 30 minutes from now, you know it's going to pop up and then you can jump in. So I really appreciate this. This is a very nice little quality of life update. In addition to that, they've got the freeze rank option. You can see it right here. It's available once you hit rank silver. Now this freeze rank option is awesome because it allows you to not have to sweat in that race. You really just click the freeze rank. You won't gain or lose any RP for that race, and you can just race casually as if ranked didn't even exist. I think this is a really elegant solution to not being able to split the queues into a casual queue and a ranked queue. This sort of allows everybody to kind of coexist, and the system takes into account who's actually racing and who's, you know, maybe just there casually. Now, the reason you can only freeze your rank at silver is because in bronze, you can't de-rank. Like, you won't ever lose points in bronze. You will only gain points in bronze. Once you hit silver, then you can start to lose points. So basically, silver rewards are guaranteed for everyone. Literally anyone who plays a few races can get into silver. So at the very least, each season should come in and get your silver reward. Now, the ranked season actually lasts the exact same amount of time as the regular season. So it's gonna go throughout season 8, which will be 4 months. 4 months is a long time, and I think the majority of people will be able to play at least a little bit in those 4 months, maybe get the silver, the gold reward, and those really dedicated players can jump into platinum and legend. Now let's talk about some of the specifics like the matchmaking. I've seen this question a lot. Is there going to be any type of matchmaking or differences in the matchmaking? And the answer is no. The queue is going to be exactly the same as always. You're going to matchmake with people in your same region like you always do. You have the ability to change your region if you want. It really is the same game, and because of the freeze rank, for a casual, there's really no difference. The only difference I could see is players might just be a little bit more chippy, a little bit more hungry for those positions, and that could lead to some uncomfortable situations. But outside of that, if you just want to play Grand Racing casually, you can still do that. Now, another question I've seen, is there going to be a penalty for leaving early? Yes. If you enter a queue and then you leave, you will lose rank points. And if you do that repeatedly, you're going to lose more and more and more each time you do it. So it gets progressively worse for you. So I recommend not even queuing unless you're 100% sure you're going to finish the race. Now, the one question I have, which I didn't get answered yet, is what happens when you disconnect? Are you going to lose points for disconnecting? Are they able to detect a disconnect versus someone who just left the race? I don't know. We'll find out. But I hope that's not the case, because my game crashes quite a bit. And so I might have a fair number of disconnects, and I would really hate to see myself losing rank points because of it. And speaking of rank points, How are they determined? How do you get rewarded? What are the factors? Well, we don't really have all of them established. They haven't really talked about all of them. But what we do know is it's an extremely complex situation. It takes into account a lot of different things, including your opponent's strength. Like if you're silver and you're racing in a lobby that has a bunch of gold players in it, the system will take that into account when it comes to rewarding you your RP. So you don't have to worry too much. It is going to be a fair system. It takes into account everything, even the starting position. If you start in the back, that's a harder race for you. So if you finish higher and start in the back, you might end up with more points. And for now, that's kind of what we know about ranked. It's going to be interesting to see how fast people are able to climb those ranks. It's one of the things that I'm looking forward to the most because I'm a pretty competitive person and I like doing competitive things. All right, let's move on to stance. There's some stance adjustments, some branded rims, and some wheel finish materials, which is what we've been asking for a long time. You can now raise and lower your car. You can adjust the visual camber of your car, which by the way, does not affect the camber in the pro settings. It's a completely different thing. This is a visual only camber. You still go to the pro settings to affect your actual performance camber. This is completely different. You can also adjust the track width. You can do a variety of those things. But if you look at the very bottom option, which is the track width, you'll see that some of it is taken up by a red bar. Basically, that's as far out as you can go based on your other settings. The more camber you have, the more your wheels are going to tuck into the fender, and so then you can actually move your wheel out wider. But if you have a straight up and down wheel, let's say, and you have the car as low as it goes, they don't want you having the wheel or the tire clip through the fender. So they've limited you on how wide you can go when you lower the car all the way. If you raise the car up all the way, you'll have as much freedom to move the wheel out or in as far as you want. So it's just a way to visually recognize, are you going too far or not? And the game will just limit you in terms of what you're actually seeing. Now, from my own just experimenting with different cars, this actually allows for some pretty good fitment on most cars. But as you can see with this S14, I like to go a little bit lower in the back here. It still feels like it has a little bit of a gap between the tire and fender, and I would like to close that gap pretty much, but I can't do it. I'm restricted. So I would love for them to kind of open that up a little bit more than it is currently. All right, let's talk about the branded rims. So branded rims include 3 brands for this season, and I think they're working on getting more for the next season. But for this season, we've got Oz Racing, HRE, and BBS. There's not a ton of options in there, and I think we will see some more additions, but I think adding branded rims is a huge problem for them. It's like a paperwork nightmare. They have to get approval from every single brand that they deal with, and there's a lot of brands in MOTORFEST. So this is not an easy thing to add. I know it sounds easy, but you have to be able to have all of these manufacturers okay the fact that you're going to put X wheel or X brand wheel on their car. And some manufacturers may say no, and so you can't include that in the game. This is a nightmare of a problem for them, and I'm sure it takes a ton of time to get things approved. So we're starting with these, and I think they're going to be adding more as we go. But the exciting thing is that you can now paint your wheels and use different finishes. The new finishes now include the metallic, the matte, the chrome, and the anodized finished materials, which means you can actually have white wheels, which is amazing, finally. All right, let's move on to the next subject. This is going to be a long one because we have a lot to talk about: the cars. There's going to be 32 cars in total that we know of right now. There's another 5 cars that I am a little bit gray on. Like, I think they're going to be in the update, but they didn't really talk about what they are, and I haven't seen them. So let's talk about the ones we know for sure. I'm going to start with the new cars in November. So in November, we're going to be getting a Ferrari 12 Cilindri, which is part of the Year 3 Pass. It is an exclusive car to the Year 3 Pass owners. You cannot get this car without having the Year 3 Pass. In addition to that, the Zenvo Aurora Agile is also a Year 3 Pass exclusive vehicle. You will not be able to own this car unless you buy the Year 3 Pass. The BMW M3 is actually going to be in the shop, and you can buy that because you actually need that car in order to play the Street Riders playlist. So that'll be available for everybody. The Mercedes AMG GT will also be in the shop for purchase for everybody. So we'll have that. The Cadillac CL Concept, which is a Year 3 Pass exclusive, but you have to have owned the Year 1 Pass and the Year 2 Pass already. So you have to own one of those, and then when you buy the Year 3 Pass, you get the bonus CL Concept. Then we've got a few BMWs. We've got the BMW M2, which is a 2023 M2. That's the playlist reward for the Street Riders playlist. We've got the BMW M3 CS, which we'll be seeing on November 19th as, I think, a shop edition. And then the BMW M4 CSL G82, which is going to be the summit reward for this first month. And then finally, not a new car, but one that's returning from the Crew 2, a Mazda RX-7 Turbo Outline Edition. This has been in the game, I believe, since launch or shortly after launch, but this will be returning as a main stage reward for November. Now, moving into December, we have the Pagani Imola, which is going to be the year 3 pass car for that month. And then we have 2 unknown cars at this point. I don't know what the December summit reward is going to be, and I don't know what the December main stage reward is going to be. The main stage obviously is a returning car, and the summit reward is a brand new car. So I'm not really sure exactly what those are, but we will have one of each. That's just the formula. In January, we're going to have the BMW M Hybrid V8, which will be a year 3 pass car, along with the Volkswagen Golf GTI 1800, also a year 3 pass car. Both of those should be available in the shop at some point, probably a week after. The year 3 pass owners usually get it ahead of time, but those are not exclusive. The only year 3 pass exclusive cars are the first 2 I mentioned, the Ferrari 12 Cilindri and the Zenvo Aurora. Now, in addition to that, we're going to get the BMW M2 CS on January 21st. Not to be confused with the M3 CS, which we get on November 19th. Different cars. And also in January, we will see a summit reward and a main stage reward. And again, we don't know what those ones are yet. Now, there's not that many main stage rewards left. They all come from the Crew 2 exclusivity. I have all of the cars except for those ones that are coming from the Crew 2. So hopefully those cars that trickle in are cars that I don't have yet. Anyways, into February, the last month of this season, we're going to have the Ford Shelby GR1 Concept, which is a year 3 pass car. Again, not exclusive. It should be in the shop a week later, but it'll be available a week early for year 3 pass owners. And then the Summit Reward and the Main Stage Reward, again, not cars that we know of right now, but they will be coming. All right, let's talk about the returning cars in the Main Stage Legacy. These are cars that were already in the main stage of MOTORFEST, but they will be coming back so you can earn them at any point. In November, you're going to get the Alfa Romeo 4C Serpente Edizione. In December, we're looking at the Proto Lucky One Marble Edition. In January, we've got the Porsche Cayman GT4 Wasp Edition. In February, we're looking at the TVR Griffith Peppermint Edition. All right, let's talk about the cars returning in the Prestige Ticket Store. So in the Prestige Ticket Store, we have a lot of things. I'll show you the vanities as well, but specifically the cars. Season 5, we're looking at the Bugatti Veyron Barchetta Velvet Edition, the Noble M600 Lunar Year Edition, the Rimac Nevera Time Attack Edition, and the Creators KS Death Racer Edition. Those are the cars for Season 5, and I'll scroll through right here so you can see all of the vanities as well. Now, for Season 6, we're looking at the Mazda RX-7 Red Fury Edition, the Ford Fiesta Red Bull Edition, and the Ford F-150 Raptor Race Truck Red Bull Edition. That's a mouthful. And then finally the plane, the Extra 330 SC Red Bull Edition. And again, I'll scroll through all the vanities here so you can see exactly what you're missing if you miss anything. Now, one thing to note, we usually don't get 2 seasons of vanities added to the Prestige shop. Usually it's just 1 season at a time. So this leads me to believe that they're actually switching the frequency on which you're going to be able to get those rewards. Now, because we've got Season 6 rewards here in the Season 8 update, there's only 1 season removed between when the item was originally introduced into the game and when you can actually buy it in the Prestige store. This stuff in Season 6 is available in Season 8. It used to be 2 seasons removed. So now you're looking at a maximum amount of time of around 7 or 8 months. I can't remember, I calculated it. But basically, if something shows up at the very beginning of a season, I think the Fiesta was the first one in that season. I could be wrong, but if it was the first in Season 6, that would be the longest time you would have to wait. Would be the 3 months to finish Season 6 and the 4 months to finish Season 7, and then you could get it in Season 8. So yeah, 7 months would be the most amount of time that you would have to wait in order to get those summit rewards basically for free in the Prestige shop. Anyways, enough talking about that. Let's move on. We've got a couple of quality of life updates that you guys need to be aware of. One is called the Crew Finder. This is an easy way to crew up with others on your same platform. It's as simple as just choosing from 3 different activities once you hit the Crew Finder, and then you just let it search. It'll match you, it'll put you in the same crew together, and you guys can go racing together. It's very, very simple. You do not actually have to stay in the menu either. You can just go back to free roam and mess around, do some feats, look for treasure, whatever you want to do. but you can't start an event. So if you're in an event, the crew finder will be paused. When you exit that event, the crew finder will resume looking for another player if it hasn't found one yet. The same thing goes for grand races and anything else that's an event, an actual race. If you're in a race, it's not actually searching for another crew. But when you get out, it'll match you up with somebody. All right, and lastly, we got the friend pass. The friend pass you probably heard of, but you can invite 3 of your friends to the game and they can play for free. All they have to do is download the trial version of MOTORFEST and they get the game for free as long as they're playing in your crew. They cannot play it outside of your crew. They have to play it in your crew. Basically, the crew leader has to own the game. It's a pretty simple system and it works flawlessly. They can play it forever, unlimited amount of time, but it has to be the trial download. So they download the trial, they can join in your crew. You guys can go on and play. They can collect cars, do everything else. They can literally play the entire game, but they've got to be playing it with you. All right, that is it for this one, man. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, send me a message on Instagram or Discord. I read every single message that comes my way. Thank you so much. I hope this helps. Now we'll catch you in the next one. Trigger out.